So I just watched the new Oprah special on menopause, and I have real mixed feelings about it that I wanted to share. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, but I didn't know where to start because it's such an intense, complicated issue, and it was really, really hard for me for a while, but here goes. So I'm turning 53, and I sort of always thought that because I was so healthy, that menopause wouldn't be a problem for me. That I was lean, I exercised, managed stress, I slept well, I was in a loving relationship, all of the things. Like, I had it all going on. I had worked really, really hard to establish all of that by the time I was 50. And it seemed like it happened overnight, but my body just seemed like it didn't work anymore. I was starving all the time. I had gained a couple pounds, nothing dramatic. My fatigue was increased, but the biggest problem that I had was apathy and mood swings, which I just never had. Like, I've always been kind of an upbeat person who has a lot of motivation. And I was so irritable all the time and didn't want to be married, didn't want to have kids, didn't want to do anything that required me to kind of show up. Interestingly, my company, my job, my clients was the only thing that I wasn't irritated about. I loved seeing my clients and helping other people because I think I could have hours each day where I wasn't thinking about myself. And it was really hard. And had I not had the husband that I have, I don't know if our marriage would have made it, because I was going from severe depression to profound irritability, like, get away from me, everybody get away from me. To then another part of the day saying, or another part of the month saying, what was that? What happened to me? I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from. Like, just bananas. And nobody could help me. I was offered birth control pills. I was offered antidepressants multiple times. I was offered anti-anxiety medication. And I knew it was hormones. I just knew it. I'd done enough research to know that mental health is a huge factor. And so I finally found someone the first place I started was a testosterone pellet. It turned out not to be great. That was right before my 50th birthday. Helped for a while, but then there were side effects. And then I went to a new doctor who said, no, pellets are awful. But what she didn't tell me is that you can't just suddenly go off testosterone. This is a woman who'd been doing hormones for 30 years and didn't know. I had looked it up and saw that sudden removal of testosterone can cause suicidal thoughts. It's like, okay, so the pellet has this super high dose of testosterone and it gradually wears off, which is good, but then there was none. And so then she gave me progesterone. Actually, the other doctor with the pellets gave me progesterone because the testosterone made me so bloated. And then I finally said, as I approached my 51st birthday, I think I need estrogen. And she was like, well, you're not in menopause yet. By the way, which is myth number one. you don't wait until you're in menopause. Perimenopause, I've been in perimenopause for almost 15 years. My estrogen has been on the floor for years. I get tons of blood work because of my thyroid issues. And that is just not true that you need to wait. It's flat out stupid and irresponsible and dangerous. So I should have been on estrogen years ago. But so finally went on the patch, and it seemed to be making things a bit better. By the way, I never had hot flashes, so don't wait for that to be a symptom. Most of the time, hot flashes are associated with metabolic dysfunction. So if you have elevated insulin or any kind of midsection weight, you're more likely to have hot flashes. I never had a hot flash, but my brain was a mess. And so I was on the patch, my levels started to go up, but then I developed an allergy to the adhesive. And I tried a bunch of different patches. I tried to put it in different areas. And I had these red welts, itchy welts all over my body because I was so terrified of not having the estrogen and having my mood swings come back that I was just suffering through these raised, itchy red welts. And I tried all these different brands, and finally we tried estrogen cream. And here's the problem with cream. Your body is meant to be, your skin is meant to be a barrier. So if I put sunscreen on with a bunch of chemicals, the goal of your skin is to prevent the majority of those chemicals from getting into your bloodstream. Well, guess what happens with hormones? You put them on your skin, and your skin is a barrier, and it does the job of trying to block things from going into your bloodstream. So a lot of people can't really absorb the patch or the creams because their skin barrier is preventing them from being absorbed. So I was having 10 times the recommended dose of estradiol's cream, and my hormones were not budging, which is also why you have to get blood tests. And that's the other myth, is that blood tests are irrelevant because your hormones are all over the place. But listen, if your hormones are all over the place, but they're mostly low, you need to know that because your brain is changing, your heart is changing, your gut microbiome is changing, your insulin sensitivity is changing, you're losing bone. All the time that your estradiol is low, all that stuff is happening under the surface. And if your brain gets damaged, you can't get it back. It's not like your bones where you can actually build them back. So I went years without being adequately dosed hormones and had to get into arguments with my practitioner who was a hormone expert. And by the way, other myth, there's really not hormone experts out there because physicians are not taught about hormones in medical school. It's not part of the protocol. You're lucky if you get a few hours. There's no standard of care for menopause. It's starting to happen, but even the standard of care that's available is just the bare minimum. You're getting a whiff of hormones. They're giving you enough to take away your hot flashes and maybe help you sleep, and that's it. It's sort of like if you got in a massive car crash and you had internal injuries and broken limbs and broken ribs and a headache, and you were in pain, and they gave you aspirin and painkillers and said, okay, well, you're not in pain anymore, so we're good, right? Meanwhile, you still have broken ribs and your internal bleeding. No, just taking care of that one little symptom of the external pain is not enough. Okay, so I have so much to say. I could literally talk about this for 4 hours. So I think I'm gonna stop there. This is just what I've been doing for the past couple years. So I'm turning 53. It was almost exactly 3 years ago that this whole journey started for me. And it's not over. I'm not even in menopause yet, which is bananas. I started having perimenopause symptoms when I was 41. And a lot of that was due to the poor health I was in and that I had just finished birthing and nursing 2 babies. but it's been a while. It's been a while. So I want to talk more about this. I'm going to keep doing videos, and I would like you to ask me questions, because this is something that I have spent thousands of hours researching and studying, and no, I am not a physician. No, I am not a hormone expert, but I bet you that I know more than 90% of physicians, because they don't have the time to go and teach themselves, nor the interest. Unless this is the main part of their practice. And yet there are 1 billion women around the world who are in menopause right now. 6,000 women a day enter into menopause, and we are being overlooked. And I'm not willing to live for the next 40 or 50 years like that. I don't know about you, but I don't plan on just withering away, or succumbing to Alzheimer's or heart disease or osteoporosis. I'm not going to do it. So I have been on a mission for years to figure this out, and people are not getting into the level of discussion that needs to be had for women to actually be helped. So I'm going to start talking about it and hopefully help somebody. I hopefully want to help you, because I don't want you to suffer now or for the next 50 years.